I'm going to tell you how I got to a C2 level in English and how you can do it too if you're not a native speaker. A lot of you, in fact most of you who are not native speakers of English, are not very good at speaking English. No offense, I know some of you speak really good English, but many of you do not speak it well, and some of you can't even speak at all. Yeah, a lot of you are not confident because even after years of classes in school and then consuming lots of content online, maybe you understand well, but you can't speak it well. Some of you can't understand and can't speak, but a lot of you can understand it but can't speak. And this is a very simple reason for this, and also it's a very simple solution for this. Simple but not easy. It will require some hard work, but it's doable. So I'm going to tell you a little story first. Where I come from, I grew up bilingual, but not with English, obviously. I grew up speaking Basque and Spanish. And most people, including myself, started taking English classes in school at the age of 8, I think, if I remember correctly. I think now it's much sooner. I think age 5 or even 4 they start with English. And the reality of it is, even after 10 or 12 years of classes, most of them, 90% of them or even more, they still suck at English when they reach adulthood. So, and when I mean suck, I don't mean like they've got an accent like myself or anything like that. No, I mean they're unable to string 3 sentences together. So bad, can't understand in most cases and can't speak at all. So this is a massive failure of the school system. And the problems, there are multiple problems with the school system, but this video is not about that. This video is about solutions. I'm going to tell you what exactly you need to do. So I'm going to tell you a little story. I used to fail English in school when I started taking English classes, and I was bad at English for a long time. And can you guess when I started getting better at English? Well, when I started playing video games in English, and then going on the internet, and YouTube wasn't a thing yet, but I started reading Wikipedia articles and watching films, etc. at some point because they weren't available in Spanish. Obviously not in Basque either, because the offer in Basque is very limited when it comes to entertainment. And all the cool stuff is in English, and was in English back then at least. Even now, most of the cool stuff is in English. So I started playing video games in English, going on the internet in English, and in a matter of a couple of years, I realized that I had gone from speaking really bad English to, let me rephrase that. I went from doing badly in English classes, which doesn't mean everyone was bad at English. It just some did well. The studious kids did well at English in school simply because they were good at passing exams. Yeah, but they were good at regurgitating the information in the exam, but they weren't able to understand or speak English. But I started doing well simply because the level in the exams, the multiple choice, the tenses and all the nonsense, it became extremely basic and easy simply because I had been exposed to all that for thousands of hours. So what's the lesson here? Should you expose yourself to thousands of hours of English or whatever language you're trying to learn? No. I'm going to tell you why not. Because eventually I met people who I had to speak English with in university. I hadn't spoken much English until then, but eventually exchange students and so on from different countries, including native speakers of English. And then I realized I can understand well, but my spoken English sucks. It was way better than most other local kids, but it still sucked. My pronunciation sucked, my grammar mostly, my fluency in general. The ability to form sentences fast enough in a way that makes sense, sound natural in the language, be confident, all that. I was not good at all that. I was more confident than most of the locals simply because I had a much higher level of comprehension. So that's a confidence boost. But my spoken English was not good. So should you watch thousands of hours of videos? If you haven't done it yet, yeah, if you switch everything to English when you learn in English, it will help. But it's not the ultimate solution that will fix everything, all right? It's one of the things you should be doing, but there are other things you should be doing. And there are other things you should be doing. And one of them is speaking to yourself. You should be speaking to yourself all the time. I'll tell you how. Speaking to yourself might sound like you're crazy, that everyone will think you're crazy, but it works. I didn't do it for English. I learned it the hard way, simply by talking to people all the time until I stopped sucking at English. But I learned English the hard way by simply talking to people all the time and talking really badly for years until I realized I had to fix my accent. I started doing proper accent training, listening and repeating, etc. But you don't have to do it like that. Yeah, English is not a language that I learned efficiently. I've learned many other languages since then, much more efficiently. And what I can tell you is that there are two main exercises you should be doing if you want to improve your spoken English at home. The first one is speaking to yourself by listening and repeating. Yeah, listen and repeat sentences every day. You should find someone you want to sound like and start listening to their sentences and pause after each sentence and repeat after them, trying to sound as close as possible. And the other exercise you should be doing is retrieval practice. Yeah, you take thousands of sentences with both English and your native language, and you get the sentences in your native language and you try to translate them into English. And then you actually say it aloud. And you get immediate feedback and you self-correct. You say it aloud correctly if you made a mistake, and you try again. And then you try again, and you try again, and you try again. With spaced repetition, if you do this with hundreds of sentences a day, you'll get rid of most of the mistakes you've been making. There are a lot of mistakes that non-native speakers make. I still make mistakes in English. My prepositions are all over the place still. Pronunciation mistakes here and there, especially if I'm just speaking on my own, like a monologue, or like right now, without having someone to talk to in front of me. Just have to think of what I'm going to say next. So I'm not really thinking of how I'm saying it. So I'm making more pronunciation mistakes and also more grammar mistakes sometimes. Mostly prepositions. That's something I need to fix. But a lot of you will, for example, speak in the present when you're talking about the past. Yesterday I go to this place and I do this and I do that. To fix these mistakes, and you're probably not even aware that you're making those mistakes. To fix all of this, retrieval practice is the only and the best, not the only way, but by far the best way. Way better than a teacher, because a teacher will just interrupt you and tell you you made a mistake, and you'll be slightly annoyed, and you'll be waiting to continue with whatever you were trying to say, and you will keep making the same mistake over and over again. But if instead you're getting the feedback from flashcards, there's no one to get annoyed with except yourself. So you will pay attention and you will remember it. You will remember it much better this way. Yeah. So that's it. If you can't understand English well, first of all, you need to start listening to English a lot every day. Yeah. But once you're past that and you understand English very well, but you can't speak it very well, you need to start working on your speaking skills. Train it like any other skill. Every day, listening and repeating drills, and every day retrieval practice. Do these two things every single day, and I promise you that in a month, your speaking will be way better. And in 3 months, you'll sound great. But you need to do it every single day. You need discipline and you need consistency. All right?